I brought my score from that lower 360. The final score I got that was passing was 445.
So was this like a 80-point
80
increase?
point increase. Yeah.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Abby, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to sit and talk to me here about your experience. So, you are a veterinarian
Yeah.
and you have passed your NAVLE. And what kind of veterinarian? What do you practice?
I'm practicing as an emergency veterinarian in like the South Shore of Boston.
You were struggling to pass your NAVLE, which is a horrible feeling, right? So what can you tell? Let's talk a little bit about the struggle and what that was like. So, how many times did you take it? Before, like total, I guess.
So total, I took it 3 times, so passed on the third time. First time I took it was like fall 2024,
Yeah.
and I got 380s. And then when I took it in the spring, I got like a 360 or like a 350. So I had actually gone down. I found out that I failed literally a week after graduation ceremony, going from that high to like very low of just shame, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And so then reached out to you and we had our conversation. And you guys had great reviews and everything. Yeah, I just like after
Yeah.
talking to you, I was like, this is exactly like everything that I've been struggling with. And it was the first time I felt like I went to a like learning center resource, essentially, like an online version of the Student Success Center, and felt
Right.
heard and seen, and like
Yeah.
someone actually understood where I was coming from.
I've seen that problem hundreds of times, and we have built the tools to help you be in charge of those problems. It's not like I'm going to fix this for you, but I'm going to teach you the tools that are going to put you in charge. And that's the study side and that test taking side. And when I say study, that's study and time management, right?
StatMed's the first program I've ever come across that has ever tried to teach me how to take a test.
Yeah.
And that's from kindergarten to 29 years old after vet
Yeah.
school. I remember the day that in one of our sessions that you were going, it was still like the how to study, not the test taking section. And it was
Right.
like, you were like, practice questions aren't active recall. And it was
Yeah.
like, like
Yeah.
it was like, and it's funny, like I'm not, but I'm like dead serious because I truly thought that that was the same thing, and
Yeah.
I never was told differently. I just assumed like, okay, that is active recall. Maybe it's just not. I'm not doing enough, or
It's
I'm.
not enough. It's not, no, it's all, we could always be like doing whatever methodology we're doing. And we can always be like, well, maybe I just need to do more. Or somebody can tell you because they can't be like proven wrong.
Yeah.
It's like you just need to do more. It's like, do I? I'm doing an awful lot, but yeah, then you have to go do more. Those Zuku and vet prep questions are not great emulators of the NAVLE, which concerned me at first. Like I don't know, 10 years ago when we started seeing a lot more NAVLE people come to us, but
Yeah.
they're absolutely, as we know, good enough for
Yeah.
training and onboarding the methodology. So I don't know. Tell me a few of the main things that the StatMed Reboot Camp for the NAVLE really did for you? What were some of the main? You mentioned a few already, and you can do them.
The first on the study side was how to framework.
Framework.
So I saved them because I feel like it's just an amazing drastic difference because I had the exact same study guide,
Oh
and looking
wow.
at the one I used for the first 2 times compared to the one I used just this past time, and it's literally just the difference of just a bunch of highlighted, sections, maybe some like word notes on the side, to all of these like very colorful, very detailed like ICNs and
The
like,
ICNs,
for
right?
the framework. And that was like the biggest difference because I think,
It,
and that made up for the mediocre practice bank questions, in my opinion,
yeah.
because it didn't matter that like the questions and practice tests I was doing really weren't anything like the NAVLE
Hmm.
it because I was doing active recall in my own way.
From that framework.
Right. I needed Zuku for the practice test to work on the test taking skills, but as far as like my active recall, that was not needed. I think that then really helped me know when to add in more information, when not to, because again, like you can get so quickly sidetracked on like, reading an entire like, 5 pages and like trying to put that all in. And I feel like the frameworking skill and the ICNs allowed me to be like, okay, this isn't everything. I'm missing like the main treatment for this, or I'm missing,
But you could see it. You could see it
whatever.
within
And
the
I could
framework.
see it because I was so used to like the common ICNs and framework sections, like headers that I was using, that I was like, wait, this is missing this. Okay, I'm looking up that one thing, adding it in,
Mm.
and then I'm done. I'm not reading the rest of the 5 pages on this disease.
Frameworking is a way to seek, find, extract, and physically build that framework for each power page. It would apply to a lecture, apply to a chapter, whatever, right? And then you have to read it and mark it, extracting the ICNs. That's what you're talking about. So pretty and elegant and real and relevant because your brain doesn't find that. It just mushes it all together. And then, of course, now we use the framework to self-test, self-check from the framework to the source. That's like the workout and the learning that you iterate, and that's just mix, match, repeat. And yeah, it takes a few days to learn, then like a week or so to gain confidence with. But once you're up and going, you're off to the races, I believe, right?
Yeah, totally.
And that's it. That's all that study side stuff. What about time management? Because I'm sure time management and a workflow, initiation, transition, these could be problems for you.
Yep.
We can say, right?
Yeah, learning the schedule and how to make a schedule as well as I'm not gonna say it right.
It's
The
okay. I'll correct you.
the specific checklist of like what you're gonna do for that study session.
So the academic with the ASA,
Yeah,
academic
the
study
ASAs.
agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, the micromanager. Yeah.
Yeah, that and then also just the t like studying with a timer I'd never done before because
Okay.
again, I was doing a lot of passive like recall or just like passive study methods. And so setting a timer for an hour, I was like, I never got enough done. Like that's just not like productive. Like I couldn't do those quick transitions short study sessions. And
Right.
now between learning how to make a schedule and not be so like, even if I need to change, oh, my 2 hour study session rather than 8 to 10 is going to be 9 to 11 because I
It's
decided to
fine.
work out before rather than
Right.
after. That's fine, but that
Mhm.
2 hour session's still
So
happening.
I think it's just weird, funny, weird, sad, frustrating. Everybody act like we all think we know how to make a schedule. Like I know what a schedule looks like, but making a schedule is a skill. People just make a schedule. It doesn't meet reality. So we wad it up, throw it away. We're mad at ourselves, mad at the schedule. And then we don't do it for another few months until things get dire and we do it again or something. It's just we don't teach it.
I would
Right.
make, a to-do list of everything I needed to get done that weekend before that test on Monday. Or even with the NAVLE, like the first 2 times, I would make a list of like, what I ideally wanted to cover for that weekend or that week.
And what was the problem with what you were doing that way? I mean, I've got ideas.
I wouldn't, it was like too big. Like
Broad. Too
it was
big. Yeah,
too
of
broad. It
course.
was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on, dog endocrine and like cat endocrine and whatever, a total of 50, topics in the table of contents. That's the whole book. it would be like, okay, I'm going to do three each week or
Sure.
something. And it was
Right.
just sort of like broad,
It's so broad.
but there was no organization or system to it.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of all over the place.
And therefore not useful and therefore not tied in to being productive and efficient and muscular and lean. I mean, it's just mushy and gray and fuzzy. And then I think post reboot, pretty clear, targeted, muscular,
Very
um,
organized.
very organized. It's got to be organized. Just because we're not innately organized doesn't mean we can't bring systems of organization into our learning and our prep. It has to be. So we did all that. And then what about the test taking side? What can you say about that?
Yeah, again, that was huge for me. And I think the biggest things I noticed on the test taking side were I ran out of time consistently. I was changing my answers a lot. So, like, again,
Yeah.
there was no system or strategy. And so, like, I would get to a question and read it, and like, I would sometimes use bias where I wouldn't finish reading the question. I'd like read the signalment and be like, oh, it's a golden retriever, it's cancer, or, like some bias like that, or other things.
Well, yeah, you're twisting, you're prediction trapping, you're taking a single point of contact, and
I'm changing my answers with no actual tie break like strategy.
yeah,
So just overall, there was no strategy to any of the so-called madness.
yeah,
And so with StatMed and the boot camp program portion that was on test taking, learning what those different things were allowed me to really see, okay, yeah, I was doing this. StatMed's the first program I've ever come across that has ever tried to teach me how to take a test.
yeah,
And that's from kindergarten to 29 years old after vet
yeah,
school.
yeah.
And, you know, that's crazy to me, but besides the point, like
Our society, the
yeah,
education is
but
jaw dropping, right?
because of that, I feel like there's more shame, right? There's more
Yeah,
like
shame.
there's less hope. You sort of feel hopeless because if it's your test taking skills or lack thereof, there's nothing you can do. That's just like how it is. You're not going to pass this test. Versus with knowledge, you're like, oh, I just didn't study hard enough. Just put more time in. Oh, I didn't study the right material. Oh, I can fix this. That's sort of what I feel like society tells us. And so then, yeah, it is hard to look back at it because there is no hiding from it. But that's what allowed me to like go into the test and not make any of those or not make enough of those tests to not pass, essentially. I brought my score from that lower 360. The final score I got that was passing was 445. Um, so
So it's like a 80-point
80
increase.
point increase, yeah.
Pretty
Um,
nice.
yeah.
Look, if you had just gotten right to 425, that
Yeah.
still would have been like a huge increase in your score.
Yeah.
And we would have been thrilled with it. And sometimes that happens, right? I mean, we don't care. It's passing. But that is a but obviously the more fidelity you have to the systems. And again, we're attacking the problem of board passage with the reboot camp from multiple angles, from all the different study skills, from the time management, and then of course the entire re-engineering of the test taking. But I think you have to have a high degree of fidelity to that test taking system to
Yeah.
really unlock that big jump. Which and I didn't even remember before we had this conversation what you told me your score
Yeah.
was. So that's
So
exciting.
test day itself, the amount of mistake like test taking errors pretty much went to zero or like few and far between.
And now you're living your life. You're you're
Yeah.
you're you're, you're free and clear, and
Yep.
you're getting to do what you want to do, right?
The biggest thing I'd say is it made me like question how vet school would have gone had I done this 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Even undergrad, like society doesn't do a great job about like teaching us how to take a test or how to study for our own brain and how it works. And so I think
yeah.
like just wishing that there were programs like this in more schools, but particularly vet schools or med schools.
Yeah.
Like just like more people knew about it. And so like the second I was open about it, the more amount of people that came forward. It just like took someone being brave enough
Yeah.
to say like, "Oh, hey, yeah, like I failed a couple times, like okay." And then they're like, "Yeah, actually I did too." And like no one has cared or judged me for it. No one ever asked
Oh.
me what my NAVLE score is. And
Oh.
like I'm a vet, and
Right.
I'm taking care of animals every day. So the stigma is there, but it's stupid, quite frankly. And so just getting more people to talk about it, I think just realizes like, oh, okay, there is a community and like you're not alone.